Welcome back to the Den. You're listening to the Tiger Den podcast, the place where we get our hands dirty, sparks fly, and we try to figure out if the latest shop gadgets are actually worth your hard-earned cash. I'm Tiger.
And I'm Alex. Today we are diving into something that looks like it was ripped straight out of a sci-fi movie. We're talking about handheld laser welding, specifically the buzz around machines like the new X-Tool metal fab and how this tech is moving from massive factories into the garages of prosumers like us.
Man, Alex, I remember seeing laser welders 10 years ago. They were the size of a small SUV, cost $500,000, and required a PhD to operate. But now, you've got these units that look like a heavy-duty suitcase with a laser gun attached. It's wild.
It really is. But before we get ahead of ourselves, Tiger, for the people listening who have been TIG welding or MIG welding for 20 years, what actually is laser welding? Is it just a heat lamp on steroids?
Laughs. Not quite. Think of it like this. In MIG or TIG, you're using an electric arc to create a puddle of molten metal. It's high heat, high spread. Laser welding uses a highly concentrated beam of light. It's so precise that it vaporizes a tiny path and melts the edges together almost instantly.
That's interesting. So what you're saying is it's more about precision than just raw power.
Exactly, and here's the kicker. Because the beam is so narrow, the heat-affected zone, what we call the HAZ, is tiny. I learned this the hard way, back in the day trying to TIG weld thin stainless steel sheets for a kitchen backsplash. If you hang out too long with the torch, the whole panel warps like a Pringle. With a laser, you're in and out before the surrounding metal even realizes it's hot.
Wait, can you explain that more? If it's not heating up the surrounding area, does that mean the weld is weaker?
Quite the opposite. Because the energy is so focused, you get incredibly deep penetration for the width of the weld. You're getting a joint that is often just as strong, if not stronger, than a traditional weld, but with zero distortion. No warping, no oil canning on thin sheets.
Okay, so that brings us to the big news. The Reddit threads are blowing up about the X-Tool metal fab and similar prosumer units. These are coming in at a price point that a successful hobbyist or a small fab shop can actually afford. Is this a gimmick, or is my TIG welder about to become a boat anchor?
Laughs. Don't throw the TIG welder away yet. Here's a pro tip. Tools are like golf clubs. You don't use a driver to putt. Laser welding is an absolute game changer for speed and aesthetics. If you're doing production work, say making 50 stainless steel boxes, a laser welder will let you finish that job in an hour, whereas TIG would take you all day. Plus, the cleanup is almost zero. No grinding down massive beads.
So it's fast, but what's the catch? I've seen the videos, the guys wearing the specialized helmets. It looks dangerous.
It's incredibly dangerous if you're irresponsible. That's the gimmick versus reality check. With a MIG welder, if a spark hits your hand, you get a little burn. With a 1500-watt fiber laser, if that beam reflects off a shiny surface and hits your eye, even for a microsecond, it's game over for your vision.
That's terrifying. So you can't just do this in an open garage with the door up?
Absolutely not. And this is where the prosumer aspect gets tricky. To do this right, you need a dedicated laser-safe area. Most of these machines come with specialized glasses, but you really need a light-tight enclosure or curtains. If you've got kids or a dog running around the shop, a laser welder is a massive liability compared to a traditional welder.
Okay, so safety is a huge hurdle. Let's talk about the learning curve. I spent months learning how to keep a steady hand for TIG. Is the laser easier to use?
It's almost unfairly easy, Alex. It's like using a hot glue gun. Most of these handheld units have a wobble function where the laser head physically oscillates the beam to bridge gaps. It makes a beautiful, stacked dime look with almost zero effort.
So what you're saying is it's basically welding for dummies?
In a way, yes. But, and there's always a but, it's very picky about fit-up. I learned this the hard way when I was testing a demo unit last year. With MIG or TIG, if you have a 1/16" gap, you can fill it with your rod or wire. A laser beam is so thin that if there's a gap, the beam just passes through it like a ghost. Your material prep has to be perfect. The edges have to be touching.
Ah, so you trade the skill of the hand for the skill of the prep.
Spot on.
Let's talk about the X-Tool metal fab specifically. X-Tool is known for craft lasers, diode lasers for cutting wood and engraving. Now they're stepping into metal fabrication. Do you think the maker community is ready for this?
I think the community's ready, but I wonder if the shops are. The metal fab is trying to bridge that gap by making the interface user-friendly. No more manually tuning gas flow and pulse frequencies through a cryptic industrial PLC. It's more point and shoot. For a small business making jewelry, custom signs, or thin-gauge furniture, this isn't a gimmick. It's a massive competitive advantage.
So, if I'm a listener and I've got $5,000 to $8,000 burning a hole in my pocket, do I buy a high-end Miller-Tig setup or do I jump into the laser future?
Here's a pro tip. Look at your materials. If you're welding heavy 1-2-inch plate steel for trailer frames, stick with the old school. Laser isn't there yet for the consumer level, but if you're working with stainless, aluminum, or thin sheet metal and you hate grinding and sanding, the laser is the future. It's the difference between using a typewriter and a word processor.
It sounds like it's less of a gimmick and more of a specialized tool that's finally becoming accessible.
Exactly. It's an evolution. It's not going to replace every welder in the world, but once you see a laser welded seam that requires zero post-processing, you'll never want to pick up a grinder again.
Man, I can hear the excitement in your voice. I think you just want a new toy for the den.
Laughs, guilty as charged. But seriously, if you're looking at these machines, do your homework on the safety requirements first. Your eyes are your most important tool in the shop.
Well, that's a great place to wrap it up. To summarize, laser welding is insanely fast, leaves almost no distortion, and is surprisingly easy to learn, but it requires perfect material fit-up and top-tier safety precautions.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for hanging out with us in the Tiger Den today. If you've got experience with these new prosumer lasers, or if you think they're a total disaster waiting to happen, we want to hear from you.
Head over to our Instagram, @TigerDen Podcast, and drop a comment on the latest post. And don't forget to subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode.
Keep building, keep welding, and stay safe out there. See you next time.